Shalom to the bride of Messiah, shalom to the 144,000, and shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel. For you are the bride of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom. To this evening, this late evening, I bring a word unto you, and this will be a part of the playlist, which is titled, The Church of the Messiah of Zion, the Sealed Book of Mormons. And the title of this word today is Asareth, Americas, the Promised Land, and the destruction of Yahushua prophesied in Torah. I will say this again. Asareth / Americas, also known as the Promised Land, and the destruction of Yahushua is prophesied in Torah. Okay? But before we begin, let me give you the date. We are in the 4th month of the Most High calendar. On Satan's calendar, known as the Roman calendar, that the heathens keep, that Daniel prophesies in chapter 7, their date is July the 4th, 2020 AD, and it's about 10 minutes after midnight. Now, far as the year of the Most High calendar, what I have thus far, we are in the 7,487 year, and when the 7th month comes in, it would be the 7,488 year from Adam. Take this time now to pause your screen to compare the year to Beta Israel, to Brother Yahushua, and to the Jewish people, known as Yahad. Now, with Yahad, their numbers are not going to be close to what I, Beta Israel, and Brother Yahushua has. Remember, they don't believe in the Messiah, so their numbers shall differ greatly. Now, as far as the date, the Most High calendar, we are in the 2nd week of Moon. And before I go into the date, I have given the 4th month the name Deleth. There's a video on the channel to give you more insight why I named this month Deleth. Okay? We are in the 2nd week of the Most High calendar, and the date for his calendar is we are in the 12th day of the moon, right here. We are in the 12th day of the moon, and it is the sun's 4th month and 14th day. And again, on the heathen's day, this day begins from July the 3rd to July the 4th, from sundown to sundown. Take this time to pause your screen. We are in the 2nd week of the moon. Okay. We are in, far as the week, we are in day 4 in the week of the Most High calendar. And it is day 12 of the moon. It is the sun's 4th month and 13th day. As far as the heathen's day, it is July the 3rd to July the 4th, from sundown to sundown. You can go to the video description box to have access to the Most High calendar. It is free unto you. Okay? Now let's reflect back on the title. When the Most High had me to go back and reread the Bible during the time of my awakening, because as I had given my testimony before, I have always been drawn to the Bible, and I have always, I have had a heart desire to read the book for myself. So when he awakened me in the year of 2014, when I was rereading the Bible a certain passage stuck out in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29. And it was verse 28. Verse 28. It stuck out to me. Because when I was studying and researching things, I wanted to know what Asareth means. And when you Google it, the only information I could find about it at the time, it means another land. Also, when you go to 2nd Ezra chapter 13, you will find there where Ezra talks about the northern kingdom and where they went to. You can read that in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. But when you look in the side note, another way they would spell Asareth is Arathh. But at the end of the day, it basically means another land. So the reason why this word would be added to the playlist of the Church of the Messiah of Zion, the Silver Book of Mormon, is going to give you proof and evidence how these parts bear witness to one another. We are in now the second part that was given unto Mormon. He is an Israelite. He is a descendant of Joseph. So now we are in the second part of what the prophet Daniel had talked about, because there were some books that were sealed until we get to the fullness of the Gentiles, which is the last days, which is the time of the end to come. So that's the time we are in now. So when I had read Deuteronomy 29, that verse stood out to me. So yeah, as y'all know, I highlight stuff, I underline stuff, I take notes, and I precept it with other verses. Okay. And like I said, I've been in the sealed Book of Mormon. There's a difference between the sealed Book of Mormon and the Book of Mormon that you see that is given by the Latter-day Saints. Okay. Again, go to the playlist and you'll see what I'm talking about. So as I'm going through this sealed Book of Mormon, giving you more insight about the spiritual mysteries, the messages, how it relates not only to the Bible as well as to the other sacred books, but also looking at the peace that was given unto Mary Magdalene. She was given the greatest peace that will take place, or that will come upon the bride of the Messiah and the 144,000. Okay? And now we are in the season now. The Most High is raising up his people. Well, he's raising up the righteous remnant now to preach this word unto you, so you can have understanding about these mysteries, so you can take part in what's to come. He is preparing a people that would be pleasing and pure unto him. And now the time has come for you to know the way, or how to go about to do that. Okay? He is now taking the blinders off. He is now releasing the whole truth of the matter. So all you have to do, you have to unharden your heart and be willing to listen, and allow the Spirit of Yah to come into you and to teach you all things. So now let's begin. I want you to go to your Bibles. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 29. Now, why we're going over this is because it's going to set up with the other words that is yet to come after this. Okay? Remember, I said in the prior videos, I have to give y'all a little part at a time. Okay? Because if I try to put everything that comes from the sealed Book of Mormon, because we're in part 2 now. Okay, that's 3 parts. The first part was in the Book of Mormon. That part has now passed or has been fulfilled. Now we're in part 2. And what we learned from part 3, that would not be revealed until the Messiah come and establish his church in the earth in his reign. Okay? And you can read Revelation 10 because it talks about the mysteries of God. Okay? So those mysteries are not going to be revealed until the Messiah come back on the earth and establish his church. Now we're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 29. Okay? I'm in the 1611 Bible. Check the video description box so you have access to that link. Now let us begin. Deuteronomy chapter 29, the summary. Moshe exhorted them to obedience by the memory of the words they have seen. All are presented before Yahuwah to enter into his covenant. The great wrath on him that flattereth himself in his wickedness. Secret things belong unto Yah. Verse 1. These are the words of the covenant which Yahuwah commanded Moshe to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Now y'all want to highlight that because notice now we are seeing an addition that would be added to the first covenant that he's made with them. Look at that verse and highlight it. Very important. Okay, so he's adding something to the marriage contract that they must keep and partake in. Let me read that verse one more time because I want you to pause the video and meditate on this verse, because now we've seen that he's adding something else that will, in addition to the covenant that he made with them in Horeb. Verse 1. These are the words of the covenant which Yahuwah commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab. Notice this take place in the land of Moab, besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. Verse 2. And Moses called unto all Israel and said unto them, Ye have seen all that Yahuwah did before your eyes in the land of Egypt unto Pharaoh, and unto all his servants, and to all his land. The great temptations which thy eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Yea, Yahuwah have not given you an heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. You want to again meditate on these verses as well. For Moses is pointing out unto Israel of the great works that he did before them. Okay? And through these great works, these great signs and miracles that they have saw, they still did not have a heart to understand it. They still didn't have eyes to see, nor ears to hear. Again, the sealed Book of Mormon will expound on that and give you understanding why. Okay? Because now we're at a time you have a choice now. You have a choice not to be like them. The Father is giving you the opportunity to not be like them. But you have to decide. That's why I'm stressing to you, whether you are Israelite or Gentile, please read the sealed Book of Mormon first. Read that. When you read that, Your eyes will be open, your ears will be open, and your heart will be unhardened. For those who are called or chosen or elected by Yah to understand it. Okay? Because when you read that book, it's going to tell you about those who are going to reject it, and you're going to see what's going to happen to them. Right? Let us keep going. Verse 5. And I had led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxed old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxed old upon thy foot. Here again we see another miracle that take place. Because if you know anything about garments, what? They should get old. But because they was under the power, it did not happen. Verse 6. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drunk wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am Yahuwah your God. And when ye came unto this place, Sihon the king of Heshbon and Og the king of Bashan came out against us unto battle, and we smote them. So let me pause there, looking back at verse 6. Notice he said, you have not eaten bread, neither have you drunk wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am Yahuwah your God. That's another verse you want to meditate. For what he's saying, that you are not under the influence of eating bread, neither have you been under the influence of drinking wine or strong drink, to know that Yahuwah is your God. Okay. Now we're going to verse 8. And when we took their land and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites and to the Gadites and to the half tribe of Manasseh, keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. Okay? Take this time now to pause your screen if you need to reread those verses. But notice what he's saying 9. He said, keep the words of this covenant. Think about it now. The covenant he's making now with them in Moab. He said, keep the words of this covenant and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. Verse 10. Ye stand this day, all of you, before Yahuwah your God, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thou stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water, that thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahuwah thy God, and into his oath which Yahuwah thy God make with thee this day. Notice who are to enter into this covenant that he's making with them in the land of Moab. We have here the captains of their tribes, their elders, their officials, and all the men of Israel, also their little ones, which is their children, their wives, and the stranger that is in their camp. And we know who the strangers are, because the book of Exodus chapter 12 tells you who those strangers are. And when you read the whole book of Torah, you will learn who else came out with the Israelites from the land of Egypt. Okay? Because he goes on to say in verse 11, the stranger, even from those that bring the wood to those that draw the water. Okay? All of them has to enter into this covenant that he's making with them this day in the land of Moab. Okay? Remember, the law for the Israelite shall be same for the Gentile, the stranger that joined or sojourn with them. Okay. Now go read verse 13. That he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a God, as he has said unto thee, and as he has sworn unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Now you want to highlight that verse because I'm telling y'all, there is nothing new underneath the sun. You're going to see this again. When you go into sacred books, even back to the days of the sons of Adam, when we look at the time period between Adam and Noah, okay? Even that time period. Also, when we look at the time period of the Hebrew Israelites, and when you get into the second part, dealing with the sealed book of Mormon, you're going to see why I'm telling you to highlight this verse. Because Yahuwah is making it clear what he's looking for. And when you scroll back up, it's very important. Take a look, because like I told you, there's nothing new beneath the sun. What was done in the old is done in the new, and it will be done in what is yet to come. The past, the present, and the future. Do y'all see this? So, like I said, go back and review 10, 11, 12, and notice who has to partake in the covenant or who has to join the covenant, because Yahuwah is making it clear right here in verse 13. He said he's looking to establish a people that will be unto him. Okay? Very important, because he wants to be their God. All right? And he also go on to say that he has sworn this to our forefathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And he also said that he has said this unto them as well. So let me read verse 13 again. I want you to highlight that and meditate on that, because you're going to see this again in the sealed book of Mormon. That he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, that he may be unto thee a God, as he has said unto thee, as he has sworn unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. The Father wanted me to let you know this is dealing with the church that the Messiah shall establish in the earth, that shall be in Zion. And this church will follow after the order of the Enochians, and the priests will follow after the order of Melchizedek. Okay? We are in the season. He is trying to prepare you where you need to be, because you need to be prepared of what is coming. Okay? 14. Neither with you only do I make the covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahuwah our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day. For ye know how we have dealt in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by. And ye have seen their abominations, and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Lest there should be among you man or woman, or family, or tribe, whose heart turn away this day from Yahuwah our God, to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood, And it come to pass, when he hear the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. Yahuwah will not spare him, but then the anger of Yahuwah and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahuwah shall blot out his name from under heaven. Now, y'all, you want to go back, reread these verses that I read unto you, because in this covenant that our forefathers made, okay, notice y'all ain't playing. If they did not keep the covenant that was made in Moab, that those curses that he spoke of will fall on that person. And notice what else happened. Okay? These curses that are written in this book, which is Torah, will fall upon that person. But notice what else will happen. Yahuwah shall block out his name from under heaven. Do y'all see this? Okay? Now, when we look at the verses above, let me go back above. He's pointing out, not only do I make this covenant, let me go back to verse 14. It said, neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahuwah our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day. Do y'all hear this? This is dealing with the seed that is to come. This is dealing with their children's children. This is dealing with their lineage. Remember, as the word is spoken, it is also spoken to unto the loins of the men. No joke here. So go back higher and look at the people that was brought into this covenant. We have Israelites and we have Gentiles, which the Bible calls strangers. Now you see this. What goes for the Israelite also go for the strangers, the Gentiles. And notice how it's not only spoken to them, but it's spoken to their children's children. Okay? Something to really think on. So as you see, the Father is still the same. He does not change. Look at the things that he mentioned that he said that is abominable, right? He said, I have seen their abominations. Okay? What the abomination of what? The abomination of the other nations that is upon the earth. He has seen their abominations. And he's pointed out the things unto us that he hates. He hates their idols, their wood, their stone, their silver, and their gold. Because we know they will make idols out of these elements. They will make idols out of wood, stone, silver, and gold. Okay? Something to go back and meditate on. Now we're going to read verse 21. And Yahuwah shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law, so that the generation to come of your children that shall rise up after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land, shall say, when they see the plagues of that land, and the sickness which Yahuwah hath laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that is not sown, nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, which Yahuwah overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all nations shall say, Wherefore have Yahuwah done thus unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? Now we're going to pause there because now we get into a future prophecy that's going to the title. Okay, let's go back and look at verse 21. In verse 21, the ones who break this covenant, whether they're Israelite or Gentile, okay, notice what Yahuwah said. He's going to separate him unto evil. In other words, evil things will fall upon him now. Okay, according to the curses of the covenant that are written in the book of the law. All right, something to think about. Because like I said, Father ain't no joke. He is still the same. Okay, let us read verse 22. Father is now having me to remind you, this is why it's so important that you need to read Ezekiel's writings, starting from chapter 40 to 48, so you can understand what is the yet to come in the earth when the Messiah established the church in the earth. Okay? Because you will see he is still the same. Our Father in heaven is still the same. He's going back to his original plan that he had established for Adam. Okay? Remember, when you read the sealed book of Mormon, you will learn what was given unto Israel. It was the pathway of the greater things to come. Okay? So what was given to them, we should be learning it so we can understand the future things to come. Right? Verse 22. So in verse 22, it's talking about their children that will come after them. And then it goes on to say that the stranger will come, and these strangers are coming from a far land. And when they see the plagues of that land, when they see the plagues fall upon that land, they're going to say, when they see the plagues that fall upon that land, the sickness which Yahuwah had laid upon it, okay? And it goes further in verse 23 to explain what's going to happen to that whole land. A great destruction is coming, just like it was done in the days of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zebulun. Okay, because the Father had indignation against those cities. Okay, and notice here in verse 23, it said what? He overthrew these cities because he was angry. He was angry with them, and in his anger, in his indignation, his wrath fell upon them. So when we look at verse 23, it's telling us what is going to happen to Jerusalem when Israel and those who sojourn with Israel break this covenant. Because it will fall on their children's children. And we know the history of this, what happened with the northern kingdom as well as with the southern kingdom. They did not keep the covenant. So this great destruction that was prophesied by Moses came to its fullness in 70 AD. Because it goes to what the Messiah said. Remember what Messiah said in Matthew? I believe it's Matthew 23. Let me turn to it now to make sure I'm giving you the right chapter. But he said, not one stone will be left unturned. Okay? Now we get to see how the old go in hand with the new, how they bear witness to one another, just as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Ruach Kadesh, bear witness to each other. Do y'all see this? Do you see how all these points are connecting together? But do you see the greater thing that was given unto Moses to write in this book? Because he is foretelling unto us the destruction of Jerusalem, but why it was destroyed. Because the Father already knew they was not going to keep this covenant. because they didn't have the heart to, let me go back high, because of their heart, because they couldn't see, and because they could not hear. When you go back higher up, okay, you go back higher up, you will see it is written in verse 4, because of their heart, because they cannot see, and because they cannot hear, they was in no condition to keep this covenant. And this is why this judgment, this wrath has fallen upon Yahushua. Okay? So let me go and back and reread verse. See where we at. We're going back and reread verse 23. No, verse 22. And we'll keep going down further. So that the generation to come of your children that shall raise after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land, shall say, when they see the plagues of that land, and the sickness which Yahuwah had laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that is not so. And so that land is going to be what? Barren. You ain't going to see hardly any plants. It's going to be like a desert. It's going to be like a wilderness. Okay? Nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, Zebulun, which Yahuwah overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all nations shall say, Wherefore have Yahuwah done this unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? Father want me to remind you, read the book of Joel. He expounds on this. Okay? Another prophet that bear witness to Torah. Okay? Verse 25. Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahuwah of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. So these men is going to say, when that time come to pass, which most people know today, the reason why Yahushua has been destroyed, the reason why Yahushua is desolate and beareth no fruit, beareth no green grass, and has become like a desert or wilderness now, is because the children of Israel and those that sojourn with Israel broke the covenant. Okay? Verse 26. For they went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods whom they knew not and whom he had not given unto them. All right, so it's again, I'm sorry, y'all, my tongue getting twisted. So again, this verse is expounding more of what else they did, okay, which goes against the covenant. They cheated on Yah. Think about the 10 commandments. Thou shalt have no other God before me. For it is written in the book of Exodus, I think it's chapter 34, he said what? His name is jealous. So they cheated on Yah, and they served these other gods that was not given the authority to be over them. When you come in the whole volume of the book, especially, like I said, Torah is the foundation of all things, you will learn that Yah put himself to be over them. No other angel or principality was to be their king or their ruler or their judge. He set himself over them. Okay? But to the other nations of the earth, they was assigned to be under the principalities, the angels that he assigned to be over them. Okay? Let us keep going. Verse 27. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against this land, to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. Okay? So we can see that evident today. If you would Google Telerod, you would see the Jerusalem of the Jebusite. And look at the condition of that ancient holy city. It matches the biblical prophecy that was given by the Messiah. And you can find it in Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. Okay, so we got Matthew chapter 24. We have the prophet Joel. We have the prophet Moses, who written this in Torah. Okay, so all the curse was fall upon that land. In other words, the Most High Yah wrath will fall upon Jerusalem because they broke the covenant. And he goes on to point out what they did that was detestable unto him. They served the other gods. They serve and worship the other gods. They worship the principalities that was over the other nations that he did not give unto to be over them. Okay, they did not give unto them. Okay, now let us read verse 28. And Yahuwah rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. So now we're getting the understanding of how, or what was the reason why we came to the New World, why we came to Asareth, known as the Promised Land, known as the Americas. And the Americas consist of Canada, North America, South America, Mexico, and their islands. Okay, so now we begin to understand why we had to come over here. Because it's written in the word, he said, I will cast them into another land. Okay, and the Father is reminding me, remember what the prophet Jeremiah said. Let me see if I can find that chapter for you. Because now we're seeing how all the dots are connecting. Do you see now there's nothing new beneath the sun? It was in the old and in as well as in the new. And they bear witness to one another. All right, let me see Jeremiah. Let's see, can I find that chapter? Yes, Jeremiah chapter 16. You want to read verse 14, 15. And I will read this unto you now. For it says, therefore, behold, the days come. Do you hear this? He said, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that it shall no more be said, Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. That is another precept that would go with Deuteronomy chapter 29. Okay. And as I'm reading this, another chapter to read to see why this has not been fulfilled yet. Because right now, all the nations of the earth know that Yahuwah has delivered the Israelite out of Egypt. Okay, they have not said this day that Yahuwah deliver the Israelites out of the land of North. That has not been said yet. It has not come to pass. So this is why you also want to read Ezekiel chapter 38 to chapter 39. Okay, read that. Like I said, we see it now. There's a lot of things that have not come to pass. All right, let's keep reading. Verse 29. The secret things belong to YAHUAH I God, but those things which are revealed belong to us, to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. Again, the Sealed Book of Mormon going to expound about the law. Okay? Take this time now to pause your screen so you can get the precepts to those verses that we read. But I want to highlight here, we see the prophecy that was given unto Moshe. Let me see where to start from. When we look at, starting with verse 21 and coming down. So as we come down, we see the prophecy that Yahushua will be destroyed if they should break this covenant. We also see the prophets. We also see the, I'm sorry, y'all, my tongue getting twisted. The prophecy that Yahuwah is going to root them out of that holy land, Jerusalem, okay? And he's going to cast them into another land. And when you look up the meaning of Asareth, it means another land. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed this word as I did, because it's the appetizer of the following things that I will be preaching unto you, dealing with the mysteries of God. And notice what Moshe wrote here. He said the secret things belong unto Yahuwah our God, but those things which are revealed belong to us. Do y'all hear this? To our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. So, as you see it being fulfilled now, you can see that the mysteries of Yah is being revealed to the elect of Israel to give unto Israelites and Gentiles. All right, I said enough. Continue to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha HaMashyach. For the Lamb set the example of the water baptism, and the apostles continue both of them, the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism. Shalom.